Plus my mom and my pops. I came to get down, I came to get down. So get out your seat and jump around. Jump around, jump around, jump around, jump around, jump around, jump around, jump up and get down.
Welcome back to the Badger Podcast. Today we're joined by former Wisconsin Badger women's basketball standout Suzanne Gilreath. She's now a teacher, basketball coach, and mental health coach. Using her platform to inspire and guide the next generation, let's get into it. Thanks for joining us, Suzanne.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here and to conversation tonight. You said it all right. I'm a coach, teacher, and a mental health performance coach. So all that
woman of many hats, yeah.
Jack of all trades.
So, obviously with the last name Gilreath, I did have David on here prior, but so I know a little bit about your guys' upbringing. You're from a big family. I believe you're a twin, but you're the youngest of 6 siblings, correct?
That is right. Yep. So I have a twin sister, Suzanne Gilreath. She actually went to the U of M, so the rivalry schools. But yeah, I have a twin sister, and we have a big family. It's 6 of us, 5 including my twin. But it's just a big family. Grew up around love, support, and competition for real.
Now, Suzette didn't play collegiately, did she?
No, she danced at the U of M.
Okay, that's what. Okay, yep. Okay, that David said there was a dancer or 2 dancers in your guys' family.
2 dancers, 2, Devontae.
Yeah,
and Suzette.
That's right. Okay, so you had David, who was a football player. He's, Suzette, you have a couple of dancers in there. So how did you get into basketball, and what age did you really get into it?
Yeah, around 4th grade, my uncle, Greg Gilreath, who no longer is here with us, passed away a couple of years ago. He was actually a coach at the school that I coach at now, which is Mid Academy. But I got into basketball around 4th grade. I was the tallest one on my team. I would always out sprint, be fast and quick. And I didn't really have the IQ, but I had the quickness and the athletic ability. And so it just fell in my hands. I put a lot of work in day to day. I would play with the boys in my neighborhood, just fell in love with the game. And then my dad was a big impact in my life. He would always coach and teach me as we would ride to practice or to games. But it just fell in my lap. It didn't fall in my lap. I gravitated towards it. But it really, I just started loving it. I started beating the boys in my neighborhood, getting confident that I was like, I can beat these boys. I can beat anybody. So, and then seeing David, my brother, play at Wisconsin, that was an inspiration. Like, seeing him every day work and seeing him have that kick return against Ohio State, that was something that brought me to so much joy. I said, I can do that. Like, I didn't know it consciously that I can do it, but I knew that by just seeing it and believing it, I can do it too. And so eventually my thoughts became positive, and I was like, I can put the work in. So I started playing around 4th grade, 5th, 6th, and then like competitively, I would say like on an organizational team, like 8th or 9th grade. I was late to the game, honestly. I started in 4th grade, but then I stopped and then started playing competitively late, like 8th, 9th, 10th grade, where I became good.
Early on, was there something specifically that like really drew you to it? Was, whether it be like the teamwork, what really drew you to basketball specifically, if there was one thing?
Yeah, I think just like, and I think back to my childhood and I put myself in that space again, I think just that like adrenaline to keep playing, like I've always been like just a high motor person and motivated.
Yeah.
I think with basketball that there's so much to be motivated by the game. And so I love this. I started going to Zanewood Recreation Center every day. I just fell in love with the game. I don't know. Like I said, it just came to me. Like I gravitated towards it. So I would always go to Zanewood. It just had to be like at like 8th, 9th, 10th grade, where I would go to Zanewood. I would put a lot of work in. I would shoot a lot of shots. I started formulating my jump shot. And I started watching about Stephen Curry, and that's when I started realizing like the game is such an adrenaline. Like it's just a pace, but it's possessions too. So I started finding my pace and like my drive for the game every day. I think God really brought it to my heart and my support system around me. Like my brother's friend that he grew up with, Amanda, she would always work with me, and in the playground and in the front yard and teaching me. So then I just found like the love for just a game that's not perfect. I knew that I could be good at it, and I wanted to put the work in every single day. And I just say I started playing with the boys, and that's why I saw how good I could be at shooting and driving and attacking, and how physical I am and quick I am on defense. So it just like, man, it just like came to me, man. I don't really know like a time period. I think it was just overall.
Yeah.
And even now, I love it even more. And
Yeah.
watching about more film and wanting to teach these young girls how to be so great at the game.
Yeah. So you said early on it was really kind of your speed, but you know, your UW profile page called you one of the most prolific 3-point shooters in Minnesota prep history, making 294 threes in your career. So I guess what work went into being such a great shooter, and at what age did you really kind of settle into your own personal style of basketball?
Yeah, that's a great question. Part one of it, when I really found my 3-point shot, I averaged 9 my freshman year of high school, 15 my sophomore year, 23 my junior year, and 28 my junior year and 28 my senior year.
Yeah.
It was 28.5, so it increased a little bit. But like it was like my 9th grade year, 10th grade year, my dad dug in me. Like I was playing this North Branch team. And like Skywalker, he called me Skywalker. You been too passive. You just, you gotta be better. You gotta do this. So one thing I did was I put that crutch on my shoulder. Like I said, I would go to Zanewood Recreational Center. And I would go
Yeah.
there every single day and work. I started loving the game. Started finding that true joy for the game. I didn't get bored with it. Never got bored. Never. Because there's so much movement, so many actions, so many plays on defense. Like, just so much. But my shot, that 3-point shot, man, I think just like being around my teammate Andre Adams, my coach for AAU, Patrick Adams, like he believed in me so much on defense. My shot, I really just was do the same warm up shots. I would start in the paint, shoot a warm up shot, shoot 5 or 6 of them all net when I'm in the gym with my dad. So just shooting those shots, and he would emphasize that to me, like make sure you start here at the warm up, and then go mid range, then threes. So I would always find drills on YouTube and watch Stephen Curry. I would always watch Stephen Curry, or Stephen Curry. I would always watch him on YouTube. Ray Allen, like I would always put my work in, and I would always say I'm humbled and hungry. That was my favorite quote in high school. Humbled and hungry. That would keep improving every year, and my dad taught me that. So yeah, I just think like that 3-point shot came like my sophomore year when I picked it up a little more, but then my junior year it really accelerated. Like I was shooting. I mean, I was no hesitation. There was you hand down, man down, boom, hand down, man down mentality, and so it took like a lot to do that. A lot of days where I'm by myself in the classroom, putting the work in and going right to practice early. I was always an early person. I was always early, never late. And so I leave it to my work now as a teacher, and I'll go into that a little bit later on. But part two of your question, when did I find my pace? I would say I found my pace probably like to where my pace is now, where I'm more can read the defense, can slow down. I didn't really learn it in college. I learned it in grad school when I was a GA at UIC under Tasha Pointer.
Okay.
She taught me a lot. Some of the assistants, my brain was slowed down. It was like, okay, I can recognize it. Okay, I can see this. But my vision was there too. So that's kind of where my pace has came. But my 3-point pace, just like really studying the game. I changed my shot from high school to college too. I used to hop. I now 1-2 into my shot. So I learned some techniques post high school into college. Like I said, I found my pace in grad school, and I was around a lot of good coaches and just coaches that were like that knew how to have that dog mentality.
Yeah. I think you answered it, but you have a player growing up that you watched and really tried to model your game around?
Stephen Curry, that's my boy. He's
Okay, that's kind of what I thought the answer was going to be.
I used to watch a lot of YouTube on him, how he comes off the screen, how his footwork was. Like, that's who really inspired me to really become a good shooter. Ray Allen, watching Ray Allen come off corner quick screens to his corner shot, boom, quick shot, like just watching it. But I used to watch myself a lot too, like how can I improve? How can I get better? But having those people that I look up to that are also in the space that I'm in, that helped me so much. And never stopping to be hungry, like wanting to get better. That hungry mentality, that never being content, not being satisfied, but just wanting to improve. And that was what I had to do. I started watching about a film in the summertime.
So you mentioned it. You averaged almost 30 points the last 2 years you were in high school. You had to have been getting pretty heavily recruited with some of those stat lines I was seeing. So when did you start getting recruited?
10th grade year, going into my junior year. That's when I really got recruited. I was in Chicago at an AE tournament. We were playing probably like the number one girl in the country. I can't quite remember everything, but I remember driving back home from Chicago, and my AU coach saying, Bobby Kelsey at Wisconsin wants to talk to you. And my brother played at Wisconsin, David, so they knew of that too. And so I started getting recruited by them, UIC, where I went to grad school at, University of Toledo, University of IUPUI, a bunch of smaller Division I schools. But like I said, I had interest from a lot of schools. I don't even know where all my recruiting papers are or my mailing. I have some in my box here, but I used to get recruited by a lot of schools. And so 10th grade year, that's when it really took off. 10th to junior year, that's when my scoring average increased a lot. But I would say my recruiting really took off too was after my junior year. After I committed, or before I committed, that's when the offer started coming in too. So 10th grade year to junior year.
What was that actual process like for you? Was there anyone you really leaned on for help working through kind of the process of choosing a school, or once Wisconsin offered, was it just okay, well, Big Brother went there? I guess what was the thought process there, and did anyone help you? Was there anyone you leaned on to kind of help you work through those?
That's a great question, and I think that's really good, the support part. David was really big help. He would call me a lot, every other day. We would talk. He's like, "You gotta go to Wisconsin. It's just too many opportunities, too many things academically that you can be able to see and thrive in." So he would call me. My cousin Maya, who went to Auburn, she was a big presence in my life too. My mom, my dad, just my inner personal relationship circles. Those ones really thrive and push me. I can't really pinpoint one person or two, but I would say my overall family, they just allow. My mom wanted me, but I wanted to go to UIC really bad, because the coach there was really great too. So I was in between Wisconsin, UIC, and Toledo at the time, and Wisconsin was, it was more of a no-brainer. I knew I was playing in the Big Ten, one of the best conferences, and I ended up doing well. My freshman year, I broke a record, 54 threes in the season. So I had a lot of success in it.
Yeah.
I may have not played a whole lot, and that's okay. I learned a lot, and I learned how to slow down and breathe and process the game a little more, because I was a late bloomer to the game, personally, I'd say. Like I said, I had a lot of people that supported me and that taught me the game.
We talked a little bit about it. You averaged almost 30 points the last 2 years you were in high school. That had to have been pretty tough, transitioning from scoring and playing and leading a team that much, coming out of high school your senior year, and then going into your freshman year where you're maybe seeing more limited touches, more limited minutes. So was it tough going from being a leader in high school and then to come in as a freshman taking more of a role player role, so to speak?
Absolutely it was. It took a shot to my ego, right, to my chest, right? Whoa! It made me diabolical a little bit, but I would say this. You learn as a freshman, you're not expected to always play either. You know what I mean? You gotta know your role and where you are, and you gotta learn the pace, the speed, where the coaching style is at. I definitely learned through my freshman year, it's about knowing your role, knowing how you can contribute to a team. It's not always about you score 30 points a game, but how can you contribute to the win? You know, small wins you may have. You know what I mean? You may have a big defensive stop at the end of the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? You have a big three. Like, it's the small little things. We always think, and as a child or as a young adult, becoming an adult, you think so narrowly, and like you think it's all about you, and it's not. It's a team sport. You have a role you have to play and contribute. You may have two threes one game. Next game you may have zero. That's just how the game goes. But I think the biggest thing I learned too is just learning the coaching style, learning where your coach is at. They may not have that belief in you as a player. Especially, for example, if they didn't recruit you, they have other players that they're talking to. So you just gotta know the role. You gotta know where you're at and know your situation, and that takes it so personal. I learned that during my college experience. The biggest thing I know was I was humbled and I was hungry. Yeah, I could have been more vocalized to my coach, like I want to play more. And I did speak up, but sometimes that doesn't work. It's a college level. You got 15, 16 girls. I mean, I'm not sure the amount, but you have a team to play, so you gotta really contribute and know that it's not always about scoring. And I knew I could score at a high level. That was no doubt. When I would come to the game, my name was called. I was available. I was ready, and I knew coming off that screen, no one could stop me. But I never let the minutes not playing detriment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mentally, how did you stay ready, I guess? You know, because some games you're only seeing very, very limited minutes. You know, what's your advice for kids maybe coming off the bench in that similar situation? You know, because it really is tough mentally to like come off the bench like that and be ready to score or ready to play defense or ready to make a big stop. You know what I mean?
I had a lot of time, and I'll be honest, like I was rough. I was down on myself. My self-esteem was down. My confidence wasn't as great. You may not know that, but I would always stay ready, so I had to get ready. I would seize the opportunity. So I knew I maybe got 5, 7 minutes a game. I'm coming in, capitalizing off of the opportunity that I have. I got 5 minutes. All right, cool. I'm gonna show what I can do in that moment instead of being like, oh man, I ain't getting no playing time. That negative mentality will make you even more down. So I think the biggest thing I would just say my support system, my dad. I would talk to him continuously because it was rough. It was very rough. I was averaging a lot of points in high school. I knew I'm a great scorer, but I knew when I would get that game, that's a shooter. That's number 3 was a shooter, and you gotta be on her. She's dangerous. So I knew, even though I may have had that like 20 minutes a game, I had 7, 8 minutes. I knew my role. I knew what I could do, and I played that role. And now that I know what I did not know, I know that you have a role, and your job is important, and it's okay to sometimes take a step back to go forward. It's okay. You know, you sometimes have to take, and it depends on the games. You know, the game by game. Like we've been playing an opponent at 6'5", all guards at 6'5", 6'4". I'm 5'5", so you gotta think about that. So I now know, you know, the game a little bit more, and I appreciate it a lot. So the best advice I can give to athletes that are coming off the bench is just seize your opportunity, stay ready, and when your number is called, you know, be that eye, be that looker. You know, maybe tell your teammate, oh, you didn't notice it helped. You know, you're 2 passes away, being in the help side or being gap. So yeah.
So, but you did play in all 31 games.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever feel any pressure from like upperclassmen or even yourself to not mess up, or make sure you were playing your role when you got in?
Yeah, I think not so much. I mean, I would always be doubtful sometimes. Like my brother would always say, anticipate the pass, anticipate the pass. That I'll be so thinking, I'm in help side, overthinking so much that it did cause me to overthink or cause me to turn the ball over. But more times than not, I was just watching film a lot, and I would just really just take all in the feedback that they were giving me. And my upperclassmen, they would help me because when I was in college, the game was so fast for me. Woo, 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 woo. They would just fly back. My head wasn't really on a swivel. And so I had to really just slow down and just talk through the game. And my teammates would help me talk through it. You know, they're like, Sue, you gotta be here, you gotta be 2 passes away. Like that communication is key. And it'll help me a lot.
Yeah.
To answer your question.
Were there any tough transitions for your freshman year off the court?
Oh yeah, academically, I mean, I had accommodations to help me with the academics because at such a high level of school at Wisconsin, the learning, the pace is so quick. So
Yeah.
I would have a learning specialist that I would meet with through the transition from high school to college. I had a tutor for all my courses. Like the resources were there, and I would always use those resources to help me
Yeah.
in so many ways. So yes, I did use those resources to help academically. I had challenges for sure.
So back to the basketball court. Your first two seasons, not to kind of bring it up, but you guys didn't get double digit wins those seasons. Was that difficult for you mentally? And I guess what drove you to keep pushing and keep getting better every single year?
It was very hard. I mean, through my whole 4 years, we really didn't have a winning season. So it was like I said, I would converse with my dad a lot and David, my brother, like just talking through that process because it was really hard. Like I said, my self esteem was sometimes low. I was down. I'm crying. I'm just trotting through the day, and it were hard days, right? Because we lost so many games back to back, back to back, back to back. You start to lose a little faith, but then you get it back. I always keep my faith high. I'm a big believer, and I just try to just talk to God, pray about it, and really just keep putting in the work. 'Cause I knew every day I would get better despite the losses. I lost a lot in high school. I didn't win a lot in high school, so I already knew what to expect from the losses. But I knew that um, through the work, it would get better over time. And so we had some small wins. We had some big wins here, but it was definitely hard. It was a really hard time.
As a college athlete, I guess what did the typical off season look like for you?
Yep. So right after March, April, we had like a 3 week break. So I actually studied abroad, which I studied abroad in Paris in
Okay.
2019, I believe. 2019, I believe so. Yes, I went to Paris, studied abroad. So we had like a 3 week break to travel, go see family, school break, whatever, and then
Mm-hmm.
um, we had spring workouts. Come back and do spring workouts, and those consist of like, you know, getting stronger, getting faster. So we do deadlifts, or we do. Um, we had workouts with the coaches, and then we had like strength and conditioning, and then we had what else? We had team practice pretty much too. So also it would just be more skill development work versus like the summertime skill development work, but team team practices as well. And in the fall, that's when preseason and the season hits. So it was really good. It
Yeah.
was a lot of learning, a lot of conditioning, a lot of strength and conditioning, like a lot of it. So it just was putting that work to build that strength up to keep getting faster, stronger, and better.
So realistically, you guys only got about 3 weeks kind of to do your own thing, and then it was either strength and conditioning or some sort of team workout.
Yep, yep, literally. There was a minimal time off. So that's why I have a motor now. I go go go, but I know now how to rest more in the professional
Yeah.
setting. So yeah.
So as the years go, you start seeing more and more playing time. Was there ever a moment? I know you kind of said wasn't really in your college career that you kind of felt yourself seeing the game a little bit slower. But was there ever a moment in college when you kind of got in more of a groove with the game?
Oh yeah, I think sophomore year, junior year, those 2 years are really like the time where I was a lot slower and like processing the game. And I led by example a lot of times. Like I said, I didn't play a whole lot, but I would be the first one in the gym. You know what I mean? I'll be ready when
Yeah.
scouting reports is prepared on the board. They call my name. Um, but I was really like nervous during those times. I didn't know. I just was like not as because I was getting pushed so much. My self esteem, my confidence wasn't like as good in my decision making. So I would say my peak though with the game was like my junior year where I really found the confidence in my flow. But stats would tell that. I'm not sure what it said on the website again, but I think I averaged a little bit my junior year.
Yeah. So it did say on the website going into your senior year, you're on course for most made 3-pointers in you were kind of chasing it, I
Yep.
guess. Most 3-pointers in women's history. Do you ever did like so that senior year? Did you ever think about that while playing? And if so, did it ever kind of like shake your confidence or make you overthink, 3-pointers when you're shooting them?
No, I think the 3-point shot, I shot so many shots, it came natural. It came natural. So there wasn't really no overthinking in shooting, but just more so decision making. Like, oh, I gotta make this bounce pass to my Marshall Howard, my post player. Like, it was
Yeah,
the next move that I would second guess, but the shooting came so instant. And I think it's because, boom, it's just a shot. Boom, it's just a shot. So,
yeah,
yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Just the decision making versus the shot. I knew hand down, man down. I knew instantly when the hand down, right into my shot. So,
yeah.
yeah.
So looking back at your time as a Badger, what what moment on the court best represents your perseverance as a player?
Ooh. My game against Iowa or I had a few games like preseason games going into like the regular season where I would just have a
Mm-hmm.
20-point game or like an 18-point game. Like I had games where I was killing it and I was like, oh, I
Yeah,
could do this. Like that, it made me rise up even more. So I think it just was really the biggest thing I learned was just coaching. Like coaches had his
yeah,
players that he wanted to play, and that was he was locked in on them, and so that made me. It didn't make me. It just made me a little down about it because I knew I could play. I knew I could score and I can contribute. I knew I
yeah,
could contribute at a high level, and so yeah. What was part of your question? Yeah, I thought I forget.
yeah. So just was there like a moment that best represents your perseverance as a player?
Yeah, I think just my senior year was really like my junior senior year. That's when I was shooting a lot, coming off, dribble handoffs to attacking, stuff like that. I think that it's not really a specific moment. I think it was just gradually where it came, where I started learning
Yeah,
more
it's
and more.
like
Yep,
culmination.
combination of things.
So, uh, can you share, I guess, a time since we're talking perseverance off the court, where perseverance mattered just as much as it did on the court for you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I mean, the perseverance that I had to go through too. I was a part of different organizations at the University of Wisconsin Madison. So, SAFO stands for Student Athletes Equally Supporting Others. I was the president of that, so I had to really get my mindset to just keep. I was the president, so I had to keep my mind going, and I knew off the court, even though on the court I was doing well, but I still had some things to fight through adversity wise. I knew off the court I had things to also take care of. I was the president of the organization, diversity, equity, and inclusion meetings, weekly board meetings. I had that person, I had to keep my head high to keep what I had going on off the court too. So I had to keep my mentality there. And I never let one thing stop the other. I just kept my mind frame like continue to learn, continue to build your network, continue to get to know your classmates, your teammates, and everything will fall into place. So there's no
Yeah.
like moment for me. It was just over time. I just used all my experience from freshman year to senior year and just meshed them together. And like I think this my senior year just really thriving and using my resources to the best that I could.
So freshman to senior year is quite the journey for any student athlete. Do you, do you have any lessons that you learned from that journey that still guide you today?
Man, there's so many like the foundations of like um speaking up, using your resources, being proactive, like going to my assistant coaches and texting my, hey, can I watch film with you? Or, um, you know, off the court, meeting with my director who was in charge of Say So and connecting with her and bouncing ideas off of, like, never being afraid to speak up. I'm now more outspoken than I was then or then.
Yeah.
I wasn't as, I was a little bit more anxious and I can name it now because I didn't know it then. But like now I'm more calm and I can like be more proactive in my workforce. Never being afraid to like literally speak up and like use your voice. Like it's okay. No question's never wrong. Like, it's okay to ask questions.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest thing. Like, I think just like never giving up, keep learning, keep being a lifelong learner. That's something I'm big on, and like give myself grace and love. I was really hard on myself in college and high school,
Yeah.
very, very, very hard. But I realized I use that as fuel sometimes, and I know it now. I would go to the gym when I would go to that thing recreational center. I would use that as a chip on my shoulder. But I was really hard on myself. I take it all in. I'm like, I gotta do this now. But now, through my freshman through senior year, I learned grace and love, be outspoken, and never be afraid to speak up. Like, never be fearful. Be
Yeah.
fearless. Be fearless.
So that going toward, towards the end of your senior year, were you, I guess, did you try to play post college?
Man, you know I did. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
COVID had a few agencies that wanted me, but I was like, I was going through a tough mental time, and as we all were. COVID hit right after
Yeah.
COVID, so I wanted to play. That was my goal, was to continue to play and pursue my professional career as a basketball player. But time, like I said, I was going through it mentally hard. The world was shut down. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I wanted to go fly across the country and um, take that big of a risk. So I stayed home,
Yeah.
and I figured it out. I did some training, my training, basketball training, um, and then I went to grad school. So yeah.
Well, so now we talked about it. Wear many hats. You coach not only basketball, but mental health performance coach and a second grade teacher. Was there a point past college, or maybe it was in college, that where you found your calling in helping people learn and grow?
Yeah, I mean, in college, I noticed too. And I was on a board meeting, and one of my colleagues or one of my peers, I would say, they were speaking up, and I was like, hey, like that's no, you speak your piece. Like I was really outspoken then in college, and so I found my purpose for like always just being that person that people can call on, and being that voice, that helper. Um, I found that really just I've always had it naturally in me. I always been wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to teach. I've always been that motivator for people, and so those strengths of mine, I just always kept them at the forefront as I moved along life, and it naturally came to me. Like I'm not gonna say that it just even like basketball naturally came to me. I just think I have a really blissful spirit, and so like I just really thankful for this like my ability to just get outside my body and be in the space of like I want to be a genuine person. I want to help people. I want to find answers to people. Like I just that's always been in me naturally. And my dad always said I have a big heart. I wear my heart on my sleeve. You care for people today. So it's always been in me. It's not been a moment or a time. I think gradually it's just been more profound and it's been more evident. Like I can see it. Like I'm a second grade teacher now. I'm teaching 8 hours a day, second graders, and it's great. But after that, I go right to practice to coach at Mini High Academy. And so I'm a
Yeah.
varsity assistant coach. And then on the weekends, Sundays, some days it varies depending on athlete. I meet with them and I coach them up on how to keep their confidence high, their self-esteem. So I'm teaching them what I learned, how to get to that play, what's stopping you from going over to shoot that shot. So there's different things that I'm learning every single day, but it's always been naturally in me.
Do you think you got into coaching because of your love of the game? You wanted to still kind of stay close to the game in some
Oh
regards?
yeah, yes, absolutely. I knew that I was a great player. I'm still a great player. I play with my athletes, but I want to just, I guess, the moment that helped me was the opportunity to be a GA. Like that heightened being a graduate assistant. Like I didn't really, I was on edge
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. I was like, I didn't know what I wanted to do in grad school, pursue my major. I ended up going with education, um, which is like I'm so grateful I did. But I knew before I went to grad school, and when I got into grad school, that's when it heightened. Being around Tasha Corner, Tim Valentine, a few people that I've seen as great coaches, learning from them. I was like, I can do that too. I was like, I'm doing it now. I could be a great assistant, GA, a coach. That kind of really where I found my groove. was in grad school, in graduate school at a GA, when I was immersed in it. I was sure of it before grad school, but it really grew confidently when I was in grad school and postgraduate school.
Not that it's a excuse me, not that it's an end goal, but if the opportunity presented itself, would you think you would try to work your way up, to being a college coach at some point?
Oh yeah, I was doing it as a GA. That's my goal, is to be
Yeah.
a coach, an assistant coach. Not sure if I want to be a head coach. I know that at the college level, maybe high school, still figuring it out day by day. And that's I'm big on moving by ebb and flowing, taking it one moment at a time. When I mentioned anxiety, I used to want to have everything in one setting. Like I had to figure it out all at one time. Now anymore,
Yeah.
I'm choosing to take it moment by moment. But that's what my goal is, to be a college coach for sure.
So, coaching question here. Many athletes struggle with identity after playing, after their playing days are done. How did you navigate the transition from student athlete to professional educator and coach?
That the transition piece, you bring up a keyword: transition. The transition can be hard, especially if you don't have, say you have the tools, but your ability to like coach yourself out of times of adversity. That's the biggest thing you have to continue to learn, is how do you deal with adversity? How can you get through adversity? Because you're gonna go through adversity when you're a student athlete, whether that's you're struggling academically and you um, can't play on the court. That's adversity. You're facing a struggle time. Um, and like I think just like the transition of like you're a student athlete and now you're a professional worker. Like there's two different things. You have your schedule set for you. Now you got to figure out your own schedule. You got to do work. There's so many components to it. Um, but you really got to figure out what is your strength and what, as I mentioned, alluded to earlier, like what do you do best at, and
Yeah.
how can you use your strengths to guide you and build those weaknesses up. You're gonna have weaknesses, but don't let those weaknesses take over you. Know that you have strengths too, and use them to your best ability. Use your resources. Connecting with people in the community around you. Not being afraid to ask questions. Do informational calls. I'm big on that. I do a lot of networking. I meet with a lot of people. Just learn, engage. It's okay to not know, as I said earlier, but it's okay to not try. You can't try. You gotta push yourself out there. You gotta immerse yourself out there, and really not be afraid to try new things. That's why I say I'm a jack of all trades. I try. I'm not. I'm not one dimensional. I'm multifaceted, and I know that I'm good at a
Yeah.
lot of things. So the identity piece, um, I struggled with it at the beginning, senior year, going into my professional career in 2020, and I was really anxious. But just use your support system. That's what I learned, and not being afraid to put yourself out there. And that can be scary sometimes. It can be. It's a lot. I faced a lot of fear, and but you as you get through lived experiences, it'll over time you'll get more confident and you'll figure out what's for you.
Having lived it too, but also being a coach and mental health advocate, how do you help young athletes balance their on-court performance with their mental well-being?
Well, that's a great question. Their on court performance with their mental well being. It's a balance. You
Yeah.
know what you mean? You you gotta perform, you gotta keep increasing, improving. But through that, with mental health, give yourself grace and love. But know where you're at. Like just understand like what I mean, how much can you take and how much can you bear? Knowing your limitations. I learned
Yeah.
that over time. I didn't know that initially, like how to ask for help. Like, coach, I need to sub out. I need to sub out. My mental health. I'm struggling. Like, I'm not understanding what you're talking about. Let me ask. Let me ask. That's through that time. Like asking questions can help you better understand. Help see what you need. Um, but I think the word balance is really key, and I had to learn that over time from freshman year to senior year into like my professional career, how to be, like I said, the word proactive earlier, how to be proactive, and how to like not wait to the last minute to say stuff, but just be outspoken, speak up. Like you want to keep improving, but if your mental health is not there, be realistic with yourself and say like I need a day of break. I need a break to reset. I need to talk to my trainer. I need to talk to her to to see if I can, get a quick breather, okay? Like, talk to your coach, not be afraid to speak up and say, Coach, my head is hurting right now. I got a headache. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain examples, but I think the biggest thing is you gotta really just find that key balance. And when you can find that equilibrium, that balance, you'll be fine with performing. And a lot of athletes say, I think the biggest is just anxiety. Anxiety, you're anticipating the next thing, but sometimes you gotta be in the moment. In the moment,
Yeah.
just right there, I'm here. So that's what I've learned.
Do you have any like key indicators for players that may, that you look for that maybe suggest they're struggling mentally? And if so, like, how do you approach those conversations?
Yeah, I think getting to know your athlete, being a relationship builder. So relationship building is the key. If you know your athlete and you know they are overthinking, just to remind them, give them positive words. I always tell my athletes positive self-talk and positive words to yourself. So, you know what I mean? Like, if an athlete is struggling, like, going up to him, making like, Shay, reinforcing the positive first. Shay, that was a great play. Okay, here's something you can work on now. Here's how you can improve. But letting them know it's not personal. Like, I'm here to give you feedback. So I think language is so important when you're talking to athletes too. And approach, language and approach. You don't want to be, and I'm learning this from my supervisor as I'm a mental health performance coach. Like, you don't want to bombard them with everything, but you want to load like a positive and a few things they can improve on. That's how I'm learning with athletes.
Yeah.
Like, especially in this day and age, in this era, like, people take things very personal. You have to be cognizant that your words do matter, and so you can name it, call them out, but let them know it's coming from a genuine place. I'm telling you the truth. I'm letting you know you can improve on this, but you can also be better at. You're doing a great job, but just knowing the relationship part.
Yeah, when I coached JV girls basketball, we called those positive sandwiches.
Oh,
Positive, something to work on. Positive.
yeah, that's right. Now I'm gonna eat positive sandwiches. Okay,
That's right.
I'm like that.
So, we talked a little bit about it with yourself. How has your own experiences shaped the way you talk about mental health with your students and athletes? Maybe not so much your students, but more so your athletes.
I coach my students too. I'm their teacher. I say I'm not here to babysit you. I'm here to teach you. So I think
Yeah.
that best be that. Yeah, but I think my experience, a lot of gentleness, a lot of patience. I have learned the word patience. And I said to you before, I used to be very anxious and didn't know when everything happened now. It's about patience. Let things come gradually. You don't have to have instant gratification right now. That exists, but it doesn't have to be at all times. So patience, like doing your due diligence to do what you can do. Like, if you need to watch more film, watch the film. Like, I read it to my students, like, the biggest thing you can do is give yourself grace and love. Don't be too hard on yourself. You're going to make mistakes. That's how life goes. But I read a lot and I just listen to a lot of podcasts and just keep myself afloat too, because I am pouring a lot in. So I have to know that I'm pouring a lot in and I pour into me too. So it's a balance. Like, I'm learning to tell my students and my athletes, like, it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay. I try to give that positive reinforcement to them and be that positive voice, and not have a half cup empty, but half full, so I can keep stacking.
Is there one lesson from your Wisconsin basketball career that you believe every young athlete should carry with them into their professional life?
Yes. It's a great question. The biggest word that comes to my heart is just, yeah, you gotta have faith in yourself. And I say that through my whole entire high school career, to college, into the professional setting. Have faith, believe in yourself, believe in your story, believe in what you are doing. Never doubt the work. The work is the work. When you're putting in that work, don't doubt it, believe in it. And that's what I'll say with myself. Like, I'm a big believer in myself and others around me. Have faith. Have faith in yourself. Whether things are going bad or good, things are eventually going to turn around. You're going to have to see a light at the end of the tunnel. And I'll say, like, you may not think life is going to go, you think life is going to go the way you want it, but it's not going to always go that way. So you have to adjust, adapt, and overcome. And having faith in yourself through that adapting, adjusting, and overcome will lead you to the positive side. And that's something that I learned throughout my career. Like, have faith in yourself. Use your resources. Don't give up. Don't give up before you're closer to where you are going to where you're going backwards. So have faith in that journey. Like, just keep believing and never give up and never stop trying. You know what I mean? Never stop trying.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing that you touched on that I think is another good point for, young professionals kind of moving into professional life. You mentioned like meet with as many people as you can, market yourself, self-promotion, stuff like that. Like that is huge. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and myself even like you don't take full advantage of it until like you have to do it. Like, that this podcast essentially made me like I'm just meeting all these people and self promotion. So that's a huge one. But okay, this interview has been awesome. So I always ask my interviews two final questions. I'm gonna kind of tailor it a little bit to you this one. So if you could go back in time and talk to yourself first day on campus as a freshman, what is one piece of advice you would give yourself?
I think the biggest advice I would give myself would be jump out there and go get it. And don't doubt it. As I said earlier, like, just go get it. Like,
Yeah.
go get the opportunity. Don't be afraid to speak up to yourself, your coach, the peers around you. Like, go. As my brother would say, he always had me cracking up. He says, find the biggest, baddest person. Get. That's the mentality you have to have. I think the biggest thing I can just say is just believe in yourself. Go get the opportunity, and don't be afraid to mess up. It's okay. It's okay. You're gonna make mistakes, but at least you try. And that's the thing I've been learning just the whole time. I'm saying, try. Go try. Go do.
Yeah.
Go put yourself out there. Immerse yourself. And I think I did that. But I think the biggest advice is slow down, believe in yourself, as I said earlier, and just really go get it.
Yeah.
Go get it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, my final question: we wouldn't be the Dodger if we didn't bring in some current Wisconsin sports. So,
Okay.
being a women's basketball player, they already started, but how do you think they're gonna do this year?
I think they're gonna do excellent. I think they're gonna do well with the transition of the new coach. I love her a lot. I've spoken to her a few times. I think they have a good season with the program turning around and new philosophy, new plays, new team recruits coming in. I think it's gonna be a great year. 5-1 start this past week. Yeah, that's a great start. And when the competition hits, they're gonna hit some adversity, but I think they're gonna do well through it. So I know, and I have faith that they're gonna do great.
I'm gonna throw an extra question out here. Normally I don't do this, but do you still talk with like a lot of the people in that locker room? Like, are you still in touch with a lot of people at UW?
A little bit, not some of the new players. But Ronnie Porter is from Minnesota, so we talk. I actually played with her and Paige Beckers in the open gym run this past spring over in Augsburg, Minnesota, at the university. So I talked to a few of them, not all of them, just a few. Ronnie Porter is one of them. She's from Minnesota. I see her all the time. We play against each other. So yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, that's a wrap on today's episode with Suzanne Gilreath. From her days lighting up the court at Wisconsin to her current role shaping lives in the classroom and on the sidelines. Suzanne reminds us that the lessons of sports go far beyond the game. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, share, like, comment. Keep following along as we bring you more stories from Badger greats who continue to inspire long after the playing days. As always, on Wisconsin. Thanks again, Suzanne.
Thank you so much, and on Wisconsin.